show. We are live tonight, so feel free to call in if you have any questions, if you want to talk to our guest, who I'll introduce in a minute here, or if you just want to talk about anything relationship related, we're here to take your call. The number is at the bottom of the screen. It's 412-254-4829, and you can join us on our chat. We mostly read on Discord. I'm not sure where those chats bounce around to. Sorry, wait, I just got a message pop up.
Oh, yeah, it's saying we're having trouble streaming to a site, but I think we're good.
Yeah, it's all
good now.
Well. Yeah.
Cool. Thanks. Sorry about that, Vimeo, if you guys were watching. Thank you to everybody who watched, and thank you to our caller last week. We ended the show pretty heavy. If you're out there today, please feel free to call in, give us an update. How you doing? Hope things are looking better for you. And that's it. So let's get to our guest of the evening. We are on time mostly this evening, and I want to introduce you to somebody. If you've been watching the show, you've heard her voice, you've seen her graphic. She's found wonderful questions on Reddit, read them to us, and challenged us. Most importantly, everybody, please welcome Ruan Willow to the show. And hey, Ruan, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me.
I am honored to have you. You do so much work, and you still make time for us. And do you want to tell people a little bit about what you do? And let's give your first plug out to how to find your stuff and find you on the internet.
Sure. Well, my podcast is Oh Fuck Yeah with Ruan Willow. Can I swear?
Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah. All right. Awesome. So yeah, my podcast is Oh Fuck Yeah with Ruan Willow. And I have a website, ruanwillowauthor.com. I have books all over the internet, all different sellers, Amazon, Barnes and Noble, audiobooks, Kobo. I mean, just check because I've got stuff everywhere. My newest book that it just went into pre-sale. I didn't think it was going to make it today, but Amazon is fast with me. So Neighborhood Sex Secrets is now out for pre-sale. So I'm really excited about that on Amazon. I didn't expect it to be that quick. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, they like me. They pushed it through within a couple of hours. I'm like, sweet. Let's see. Where else am I? I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram. I'm kind of everywhere. I'm on Pinterest. I'm on Medium. I have stories on Medium. I'm on TikTok. I'm on Tumblr. On Share Some. I'm on Fansly. I know I'm missing someone.
We have a link up for you right now. It's the bottom of the screen on Ruan's window there. And do you want to tell people the types of stories you typically give people, write, present? What is your milieu? Is that the right word?
Sure. I think so.
I'm not. I'm a semi-published author.
Well, I generally write erotica, erotic romance, erotic rom-com. I do write romance under my real name, and that's a little more squeaky clean. And I do nonfiction under my real name as well. But under Ruan, I do erotica, erotic fiction. Sometimes I've gone as far as doing just, flat out smut, which is fun too. But, there's different levels of erotica, and I've kind of dabbled in different areas. I've done multiple partner. I've done heterosexual. I've done threesomes, foursomes, orgy stories. Exhibitionism. What else have I done? All kinds of things. Oh, dom sub. I've done a lot of that. Domination. And it's just, I like to kind of do lots of, and lesbian. I've done women stories, women on women. So yeah, I've kind of done quite a few different types of stories.
Real quick, and this is not where I necessarily want this to go. Have you done commission work? Have people paid you to write stories for them?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And have they been about their real life or something totally fantasy? They're not involved, or would you say a mix or all of that?
Generally, it's a fantasy that they have, and a couple of them I've even turned into podcast episodes. So, and even a couple of books, so short story books. And so usually it tends to be something that's a person's fantasy. Yeah.
My fantasy involves Zaz and Gilbert Gottfried.
The sounds that come out of that are amazing.
I would pay for that just for him. Maybe something we could put in book form and put on the shelf for whenever he's cold on winter nights.
Please stop that forever.
Stop that forever. I love it.
Mm-hmm. So how did you get started? What would you say your entry into this world of let's start with your first book, whatever it was on, be it fiction or romance. what made you want to be an author? And I love these questions because sometimes the answers never are what I expect.
Well, I was one of those kids that I love to write. I mean, I would grab a notebook and I would just flat out write out stories. So I've always enjoyed writing, even as a child and a teenager. Even though I went to college and did different things, I wish I would have done more focus on writing, but I didn't really go back to writing, even though I wrote here and there. I didn't really go back to really heavy writing until 2016. And I did a lot under my real name. And then come 2019, I had written a lot of romance and I thought, I just really felt like the stories were missing something. I mean, you've got romance, but they didn't have any sex in them. So they were not reality to me. I mean, relationships have sex in them. So I wanted to go there.
Yeah.
I wanted to do really sexy stuff. And it just kind of grew. I actually started by creating my Twitter account, which is Raunchy Is. And so that is actually my first foray into anything erotica and anything writing about sex. And it has grown from there.
Okay.
Excellent.
Yeah. Were you surprised? When was your first success with it, would you say? Like your first story that you just saw blow up?
That's a good question. I guess for me, I was doing all these things. I was doing writing on my own site and I was doing a lot of audio things on Twitter, but I didn't really plan to do anything audio at all. And so that's kind of the thing that really surprised me. One of those nights I decided, hey, I said to my fans on Twitter, I'm like, hey, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. How are you doing? And it was a totally short little clip. And people were like, I love your voice. I love your voice. And I kept hearing
Your
it
voice
over
is
and
awesome.
over again. And then people started saying things. So I started creating audio tweets, like erotic audio tweets, which people just loved. And then I would attach pictures to them, which people loved even more. And then people kept saying to me,
I remember when that started taking off. There were on Literotica, there would start to be audio stories,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
on other sites would have pictures with some audio. It
Mhm.
was a good development.
Absolutely. And then people kept saying to me, you should really start a podcast. And I was like, no, I'm just writing. And that was back in 2021, January. And so that's when after I heard it so many times, I'm like, well, why not? And at the same time, a man who was a director at a publishing company heard my voice on Twitter and approached me and said, hey, do you want to narrate books for me? And I was like, I don't know how to do that. And so I learned, and I had a mentor who was absolutely amazing. And I learned, and now I've got, I don't know, probably like 50 some audiobooks out there and over 280
Wow.
podcast episodes. So audio I never in my life would have thought I would be doing anything audio. It's a
Now,
shame.
how much of the voice we're hearing right now is your voice? Like day to
I
day.
have more voices than I realized, and I did not know this about myself either. And so people ask me that kind of question on interviews, and I have different voices. I do. And I don't feel like this is very different from my normal voice,
Okay.
but I do have a bigger range than I expected. Like I can go lower and I can go higher and I can do different women. It's easier for me to do a female voice, but
So you can't do the Joker.
no, but I can do. I do have an attempt at male voices, and people tell me it's not too bad. But I mean, my voice is pretty high, so it's a challenge for me to try to do a male voice.
I'm not going to ask you to perform because that's some of the hardcore creepiest thing I see on talk shows.
Right.
It's like, hey, can you quick sing that song again? Like, no. Hey, Kevin Bacon, do the dance. Like, no.
I know, right? Be a monkey and do it right now, right?
Yeah. I really want to. I understand the urge to, but I'm not going to. I want to learn about you. So I'm just blown away by all that you're doing. And I couldn't be happier for you and your success and that I know is coming. I thought you've been doing this. You're like 2021. I'm like, I expected maybe 2020. Like I had nothing going on. I was stuck in my house. I had a microphone. But yeah, like you've done so much in the short time that you've been like audio work that you've been doing it. That's just incredible. Have you done any video games yet? Is that a goal? Should we put that out there? Anybody listening?
I haven't, but I am not like tech savvy that way. I would have to have someone to work with me because I have absolutely no idea about that kind of stuff. I mean, I can figure stuff out and I've done a lot on my own, but video games would be way above my head.
I could definitely see you voicing some of the characters, some of the games I've played.
Yeah, the VO stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Just
Yeah.
That would be fun. I would love to do that. Yeah.
yeah, let's put that out there because we're on Twitch and there are gamers watching us. So
Oh,
you never know. Maybe
sure.
one of them knows somebody.
I never even thought of that.
Yeah, and there's so much voice work in games now. I think it's surpassed
Mm.
Hollywood by a lot. You probably don't get paid as much for a lot of the projects, but
Yeah,
yeah,
sure.
it's essential to most games nowadays.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So, your new book.
Yes.
Let's get that on the screen. Give it a plug again. Thank you, Josh. Neighborhood Sex Secrets. Are these short stories or is this a long narrative?
It's a long, full novel.
Okay.
It's probably the longest. Well, no, it's not the longest erotic novel I've written. It's the longest erotic novel that I have published. Well, it's not quite published yet. It's in pre-sale, but I do have a
That
longer one
counts.
that I need to work on.
That counts.
It's like in the 70,000s. I don't know. It's like 75,000 or 76,000 or something like that. So it's a full-length novel. It's been
And
really fun.
do you have a little synopsis to tease people with or just buy it?
Oh, well, I do. I mean, this is the first time I've ever written a book this way. I shared pieces, the sex scenes on my Medium with people, and I actually narrated the pieces on the podcast. So I've shared pieces of it with the world, and I didn't write it in chronological order, which is I've never done that before. It was
Wow.
really interesting. And so it was
I
really
can't even
different.
imagine.
I write really fast. Like I tell people the fastest I've ever written a book was 2 weeks, but I was mad crazy when I was writing that book. I mean, I was like hardcore writing constantly.
That's
So
amazing. That's absolutely amazing.
What inspired that story? Why did that only take 2 weeks? What was the big?
I don't know. That's a good question. That actually is a romance story. I just was bitten by it. And I'd wake up. It was really kind of fascinating because I'd wake up in the morning with all these ideas and I'd be like, oh my gosh. And I'd run and go type them out because I didn't want to lose them. But it was something where it was, I don't know, it was just really hot in my brain. And it's actually a YA romance and it really kind of reflected my own life. So maybe that's why I was so intense with it.
Your own therapy. I know a lot of stories. When I write stuff down, it's usually my own
Mhm.
therapy about something. And
Sure.
even when
Can
I'm
be.
writing sci-fi that doesn't have a lot to do with me, it is usually in anger at some other form of sci-fi where they weren't getting it right and they did something dumb. I'm like, I'm going to create a whole universe where I point out how wrong that is.
Right.
Like the Enterprise
it.
doesn't have to warp forward; it can go sideways. It's warp. It's like it's just,
Don't
and I'll
go
build a
that.
book around it.
Absolutely.
Oh man.
Well, but
Yeah.
there's
Writing out
another
of anger.
question, too.
Yeah.
is
Okay, I
that,
guess I didn't really say what it was about. I'm sorry. I totally got sidetracked. About
Gosh,
neighborhood
save your
sex
question.
secrets, right?
Yes.
Oh, you can ask it first and we can go back.
Oh, I was just curious. You've written all these different stories.
Mhm.
Do you have recurring characters? Will there someday be a Willowverse?
You son of a gun! I was waiting. I was even
Well,
gonna say
I've-
Ruin verse because it was such a key. Go on.
I've actually already gone there. I've written
I
2
quit.
stories. I've got 2 books that are where the character is actually Ruan Willow. And they're MILF stories. So it's an older woman and a younger man, and they go to a cabin and they fuck in every room and do all this crazy stuff. They meet online.
As you do. Yeah.
Right. They meet online and they finally meet at a cabin in Colorado. And then they do that. And then the second one, we just did the audiobook for. They go to the beach. And so now it's starting to become more of an erotic romance because they're really starting to have feelings for each other and fall in love. But yet they're dealing with the whole age gap thing where the woman is older, which isn't very common. More stories are written about the older man and the younger woman. And I narrated this book with 2 podcasters from the 69 Whiskey podcast. And it was super fun because I gave them, they'd both been dreaming of being in an audiobook. And one of them even went to school for this. And I hired them to do it with me. It was so much fun to
That is
give
awesome.
them. Yeah, it was so much fun to give them this thing. And now one of them we're doing another book together. And then the one of them is doing a third book with me. And then I guess I didn't answer that other question. Yes, sometimes I have characters that I do reuse. So in that's a series of 3 novels. And so I still have to write the third one, but I've written the first 2. And so those characters will be reused. And then my erotic rom-com, the Day of Sex Challenges, that one is the same characters over and over again. And I'm doing a series of 6 novellas, and then eventually I'll combine it all into a book and publish it that way as well.
Oh, the Stephen King method.
Is that what he does? I
He
don't
did
know.
that with his. He did it with the Man in the High Tower series, I think it was.
Oh, okay, sure.
Like it was a bunch of little novellas, and then of course, then you just have to buy the big book later when after they're all published, and you already own the
Right.
books. But the big one has different artwork.
Sure.
Yeah, he was a genius for that stuff. So you said something that reminded me of something we have done on a previous incarnation of working together, where we went to Fiverr and we looked for people to write a script, and we hired 2 different people, and we didn't give them any direction other than it has to be 5 minutes long, 2 characters max, and whatever genre, whatever you want to talk about, but it has to be something we could put on YouTube. And we found 2 people, picked them randomly, paid them. Then we found voice actors, and we randomly we found them, paid them to do the recording. Then we paid an animator to take all this. So we never checked. We had somebody check that the work was done to our spec, which was do what you want, but make sure it's YouTubeable. And then we had an animator animate to the voices, and we had a final audio guy do music and Foley, and we released it. And by doing that, we took 6 people from amateur artists, writers, whatever they were, to they've now officially been paid, and they have a project on the internet. And we got to watch it. We got to see what the words were on the script and watch the whole thing for the first time. And that was exciting, but it was also very exciting for me to actually take people to the paid level. Yes. You now have a credit. You've done something. And I would work with all of them again after that. It was just a great process. So,
awesome.
You doing that made me think the same thing. Like working with someone on the first time and that capturing that energy they have, and when you get along and you like what they've done, it's just it's magic in a bottle.
Oh, for sure. And it's just such a good feeling to be like, here, you can do this, and I'll even pay you. I didn't pay him a ton because I'm a small startup company, but I still paid them. I paid them, and it's out there.
We paid Fiverr money. The animation cost the most, but we paid Fiverr money.
Yeah.
I want to say what we got the whole thing under like 500.
Oh, okay. Sure.
We got a 5-minute, slightly less than 5-minute video out of it. So
nice. Very
but
cool.
Hey, we now own a 5-minute video completely ours, and we didn't do anything but throw money at it. So we're in Hollywood,
Right. Absolutely. That's cool.
Except we stayed out of it. We didn't ruin it with, hey, can you make that character?
Right.
Yeah. It's like, do whatever you want. We're not even going to read it, which has to be the ultimate freedom for a writer, I think.
Oh, yeah. Because, and I've narrated books for a few other authors as well. And some of them are really hands off and say, okay, you interpret. And other ones are really in there. And they're like, can you shorten that moan? Can you say this a different way? And I get it, because I'm like that too. If it's not narrated the right way, it doesn't tell the story. So, I've worked with authors that have had both those opinions.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I imagine I'd be more controlling with my work and at least get the character names right. Yeah.
Right. You got to do that. Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
Pardon me. So, we originally met when I put out feelers on podcasts, a guest exchange on Reddit, and you replied to us, and you've been a friend of the show since. And I wanted to take this time just to thank you in public for reaching out and being the kind of person. You have a lot to do, and you're doing a lot, and you still had time to, first off, look at a sub on Reddit that is basically looking for people to exchange and help each other out. You're out there still working with the community. You're helping us out. You've helped us probably at least half the shows we've done. We've had a clip of you. So this is just a big public thank you. I've already said it before we went live, but thank you so much for not only doing this, but for being the kind of person that does reach out to people and say, yes, I'd like to help out with that.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I enjoy doing it. It's fun.
I think that the world is better when people are willing to help each other. Like, hey, it's a little bit of my time, and here you go. And it's just that's why I'm doing what I do. I want people to call in. The number should be below in a second here. I want people to call in when they have problems. I go on Reddit almost daily and give advice on how to solve the basic problems and when you need therapy, when you don't, and what you're not seeing and what you posted usually is the theme of what I'm posting. So I also Sorry, yeah, my dog's going out. Sorry for any noise you're picking up over here. It's her time. She has to. Yeah, it's exactly her time. So
She's got to go.
she got to go. She got to go. So what I wanted to also talk with you about what your future looks like with writing, any projects you have planned, not even necessarily writing, anything you have going on, things you're excited about, and where you hope to go. Where would you like to be in 5-10 years? What are your bigger goals, if you don't mind talking about them, because those are kind of personal things sometimes.
Well, I guess I just want to pump out as much content as I want. I'm not one of these writers that gets writer's block very much. In fact, I'm the opposite. I have too many ideas. So that's why I keep
killing me.
pumping them. That's why I keep pumping out stories. And I have a list of stories. And the next one I probably will work on is in the Sex Challenge series, where they are so each novella is a different thing. Like the first one is the kitchen sex challenge, then the grocery store sex challenge, the car sex challenge, and then the hide and seek sex challenge, and then the limo sex challenge is next. And so I'll probably write that novella. I would like to get the last one out as well and get that series fully wrapped up. And so I don't know if I'll do that, but and then I'd like to work on Ruan's Lakeside Getaway, which is the one we were talking about before, the third one.
Yeah.
I have way too many things. And audiobooks. I'm constantly working on audiobooks.
Wow.
I just started working on another one with a gentleman who does an OnlyFans. He does erotic audio, and him and I are going to work together too.
I didn't know that was an OnlyFans thing. I thought it just had to be bad pictures.
No, he totally does audio on there. He does. It's totally a thing. He does erotic audio clips.
Oh,
That's
I want to
awesome.
get him on the show too.
Yeah.
tell him to stop in sometime. I'm curious
Sure.
how he got started with that and why it's and how it's doing. I didn't even know audio was a thing on OnlyFans.
It is apparently. I didn't either, but
It's time to get on that.
I just love that everybody's working together. It's like not only is like Ruin just like an endless supply of like ideas, content, whatever you want to call it, but it's like you're also like just interweaving with these other pieces of media. Like, yeah, there's just like no end. You're like, yeah, I don't get writer's block. Also, I'm limitless. Like, so it's pretty great.
I know. I just did something really fun too. Like another thing I found on Reddit, there was a group of people. Oh gosh, I forget what they're called. The boob tube guys, boob tube boys. I don't know. They were looking for someone to narrate a little scene with them, and so they were talking about the movie The Room. So I just did that too. That was really short though. I only had like 5 or 6 lines. So yeah, I'm constantly looking for things I can do all over the place. And one of the things in collaborating I love to do is having guests on my podcast. Like it's so much fun to me to talk to these people. I feel like I've taken classes on sexuality. I mean, all these amazing people I've talked to, sex coaches, authors, PhD people who research about sex, professors of universities. I mean, I've talked to so many people. It blows my mind. And people reach out to me now. I just got someone who's a best-selling author who wants to be on my show, and it's not going to go live until the fall. But it's amazing to me. Every week I get professionals approaching me to be on my podcast, and I'm so honored. And it's so much fun.
If you want somebody less than professional on your show, I totally volunteer. But I absolutely, I want to introduce you
There it
to
is.
our good friend of the show, Paige.
Yeah.
I don't know how much of that
Paige.
last week's show you got to catch, but Paige
I saw a little
is
bit of you guys talking about Paige, but I didn't know what she does. I couldn't get.
She is a relationship therapist, counselor for people in
perfect.
non-traditional, ethical, non-monogamous relationships. I threw in a couple extra words, but ethical, non-monogamous relationships are her specialty. She is a licensed marriage counselor in Florida.
Yep.
And people who have non-monogamous relationships, be it poly, swinging, otherwise, she helps them with the other problems in their life. And she has talked to a lot of very high-end famous people as well. And everything she says is something that I take to heart as a fact. She is very good at what she does. So
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to introduce you to.
Yeah, I have people like her on my podcast all the time. In fact, I just interviewed Dr. Jolie Hamilton, who's a similar thing yesterday. So yeah, all the time I have people like that. It's fantastic. It's phenomenal to me that people reach out to me and be like, "Hey, can I be on your podcast?" I still cold pitch people. If I see someone on Twitter or Instagram,
Yeah.
I'll be like, "Hey, you want to come on my show?"
Yes.
Yeah.
And I know that half of them are gonna fucking ignore me, and I don't give a fuck. I am just gonna put
Yes.
it out there and be like, "Hey, you want to come on? If you don't, then you're lost." Because whatever, I don't care. I don't care if they say no to me. I am.
Why would you
open-
say no? Like, that's the thing.
Yeah.
It's like the whole point of doing this is having fun and talking to people with different
I
ideas and
know,
sharing
right?
experiences. Like, yeah, sorry, I'm not
agree.
doing that today. I'm gonna just yeah. No.
Before we even recorded, I think our 4th episode, I had a national touring comedian agree to do our show, and then he actually
Oh.
came to my house and recorded with us when he was in
Cool.
town.
Yeah.
He said yes because that's what you do.
That's what you
Right.
do.
It
That's
was
what you do.
Jeffrey Osmus. I still thank him. I'm now a Patreon on his podcast. I'm like,
Mm,
anyway, I can help get, because he's not, you haven't heard the name, possibly. He's up and coming. He
Yep.
is touring on his own tour and really putting the work in. And I was just fascinated by the idea of how your life changes as you grow more and
Yeah.
more famous, and you have more and more
Sure.
people who want to sleep with you just because you were on a stage. And
right.
he's into your relationship with a therapist. So like he has some extra help with that. And I was just
Sure.
curious about the rules, and he was just amazing to have and gave us a lot of really good insight on.
Yeah.
Well, and I have the same question for you. You're gaining fame and your reputation is growing. You no doubt get offers to meet or even more. How do you handle that?
Well, yeah, I definitely do. I mean, people definitely approach me all the time. People ask me out constantly. They want to know more about me. They want to see what I look like. And I guess, I guess I just kind of I be nice to them. And I say, well, sometimes I'll say, I can't really do that, or that's not going to work for me. But, I'm not one of these people that there's some women I talk to get really pissed if someone approaches them, and I'm like, people are just people, and we don't have to cut them down. You can still be kind and just be like, okay, no, that's not, I can't do that, or whatever. But
But you're
I just
still
kinda-
anti-dick pic, right?
Yeah. Well, I've gotten many. Let me tell you.
I'm sure you look what you did to me.
Exactly.
This is your
exactly.
fault.
Well, yeah,
Has
and with,
anybody ever been
with what
pro
I
dick pic?
do, what's that?
Has anybody ever been pro dick pic? I've never heard it.
I think just guys.
I have heard women say that they like it. I actually have. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. Well,
I won't
It's
even
gotta be
send a
tough.
dick.
It's
I
gotta
won't
be
even
tough.
send a dick pic to my wife. In fact, the other day I made her gag during sex, but not for the right reason. I stole that from another comedian. I stole it. So how do you deal with that ego wise? How does your brain say, listen, they don't really know me. They just want a piece of me that they see. How do you not let your ego get inflated by thousands of men want me and women, I'm sure.
Yeah, true. I don't know. I guess it's just who I am. I don't know. I'm honored if people are turned on by me. I think that's really sexy. That's hot. I'm honored. I guess to me, it's more like that. And I like to affect people, whether it be through romance writing or any kind of writing. So erotica is really no different to me. It's just a different genre of writing that I do. So it's really not that much different to me. It's just, okay, that's that genre. That story happens to be about sex. But yeah, I mean, a lot of things I do, obviously, it turns people on. I mean, flat out.
Sure,
does.
sure.
Or you're not doing the job right? I mean,
right. That's
I
the
did.
thing too. Exactly.
5 out of 5 stars on Amazon. Let's go,
If-
guys.
If you ever did want to do a collab with me, I have this idea where I want to write basically a smutty porn story, but I want it to be so bad that it is
If it's
impossible
science
to masturbate
fiction.
to. No.
Okay.
I want the worst metaphors. I want to throw in deep medical terminology at random places. I want all of a sudden like a dog to show up, and like you think it's going to go that way, but no, it's an alien dog, and like just totally.
Wait, hold on.
As soon as it gets a little hot, I just want to make a left turn into no. You're putting that thing away.
Right. It would be comedy. It would be funny for sure.
Yeah. And actually, call it like the you can't masturbate to this challenge, and I think it'll start a whole genre. Because I've read some stories that were absolutely in that category, but they didn't intend it to be.
That's unbelievable and terrible and wonderful at the same time. That is
Right.
All right. I'll buy.
And that's when Zaz showed up.
Speaking of when Zaz showed up,
No.
would you like? Yeah, you're going to show up. Ruan, would you like to play a little advice relationship game that we have that Josh has? This will be week 3. Josh puts this together for us. Zaz and I and you have no idea what the questions are going to be, but Josh, I'll let you go ahead and introduce it.
All right, so this is a game called Versus, and what we're going to do is play the intro, and then I'm going to read
You don't have to play the intro.
classic Dear Abby question, and I'm going to ask that each of you give me what you think the best answer is, and then I'm going to compare that to what Dear Abby's answer was, and award meaningless points to those answers.
But the prize is amazing.
It is.
It's basically me
Okay.
getting fun of for 5 minutes. Thank you. Thank you. That's very good. Appreciate it. Made it worse. I hate you.
You did.
That's wonderful. Actually, no, it's fantastic job, Josh. But no, I still
That was a picture of Zaz if you didn't see it.
yeah. No, she didn't, and we don't have to do that again. All right.
All right, let's go. What is the question today?
Oh boy.
All right. Let's get this added to the stream here. There we go. All right. Wife wants to ease friction between husband and nanny.
I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh, that sounds like an erotic story.
I was,
Yes.
It was an easy pick in the lineup. Dear Abby, I have a serious problem that is taking its toll on my marriage. My husband, Lewis, and I recently hired a live-in nanny who moved 6 states away to work for us. She is great with the kids, polite and receptive to me, but when it comes to my husband, Celeste can barely bring herself to be civil. Lewis and I were both committed to making this a rewarding experience for Celeste. He even invited her to play darts with him in his dart league. Celeste has become close friends with many of his friends and makes disrespectful, humorous comments about him or to him all the time. Lewis has tried to be nice to her, but he has reached the end of his rope and they can't seem to work it out. How can I help this immature young lady realize that mean comments, even in jest, sting? Celeste is about to lose her job. Just about had it in Connecticut.
wow.
Ruan, as our guest, you may answer first or pass.
I want to think about it for a moment, so I'll pass.
Okay. So just going back to, I say this every time. She's from like the 1980s, 90s, right? 1990s.
Perhaps.
Okay.
You're not getting any hints.
Okay. So I'm going to say she's just outright going to say, you're paying this person money. Give her the 3 strikes rule. If she can't get it together, she's out. Like that just seems like I know Abby's very straightforward and I'm wrong 100% of the time. So I'm going to stick to this.
Okay, but listen, really quick. We've kind of gotten off track with this the last few weeks, and I understand that the stakes here aren't exactly high, but the point of this is for you to give your advice, and then I'm going to award points based on how I think that compares to Abby's advice. So it's not necessarily what Abby would say, but what you think the right advice is, and then we're going to compare and contrast and award those very important points.
Okay. Well done, Josh. Thank you for putting me in my place in front of our guest. That wasn't embarrassing at all.
Hey, can you just
Play
answer
the
the
intro
question?
again.
No. I would just say what's going to happen is, nope, your advice. I already got off track. It took all of 30 seconds. Yeah. Pass. No. I'm going to say, that essentially you're hiring this person. They're here. Have a quick conversation with them. It's not fair that she doesn't know that she's on her last leg and all this stuff is going down. She got close with the friends. Obviously, she must be personable. So knock it off, Jan. And what was his name? Tevin Theodore? I don't know. Lewis. Yeah, I was close with 2 T names. Yeah, Lewis. Lewis could chill out a little bit too, but at the end of the day, she is hired. So that's mine.
Ruan,
All
are
right.
you ready now, or do you want me to go?
Yeah, so this is my opinion, right? This is not
Yes.
what.
Yes.
Okay. I'd tell her to keep her mouth shut. If she's hired, if you're hired and you're taking care, you don't get to make rude comments about anybody in the family. That is not acceptable. And if she
Yep.
didn't stop it, I'd say you're out.
Oh, you're ruined. Nice.
Ruined. Get it? Ruined.
Oh,
Ruined.
you made it worse. You made it worse. Hammer.
I mean, no, that's just not okay. You're
No.
paying this person, and the kids might be seeing that kind of shit, and that's not okay.
Yep. My advice is very similar to yours, except I would also throw in, you need to stop being less familial with the help. Her job isn't to be your friends. Her
Right.
job is to be a nanny, an au pair, perhaps, take care of the kid, help take care of the household, not be your buddy, not go to darts,
Mhm.
be somebody you can rely on. And then you start using the word inappropriate. You give her the 3 strikes, like Zaz said. That's not appropriate. That's not okay. That's your employer. And you lay a little groundwork because you didn't at first. In fact, you went the opposite direction. You lay down the groundwork and what the rules are. And that at that point, if she can't keep those, I don't care how many states she moved away from.
Too bad, man. Too bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep the job. A lot of people switch states for work and it doesn't work out. And Mike is going, you know what? You moved all the way here from Delaware. We're gonna keep you on for a while. It doesn't work that way.
No.
So, yeah, I think we all really kind of agree. There's just some extent to how far we would go or how we would phrase things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Answer.
Mhm.
Dear Just About Had It, you and Celeste are overdue for a frank talk about how this situation came about. Most employers do not invite their nannies to socialize the way your husband did. Is it possible that he did something that she considered to be inappropriate, and this is her way of getting back at him? Even if that is not the case, it is clear that Celeste's presence in your household is creating tension and discomfort. And from my perspective, it would be better for all concerned if she found other employment.
Let's go.
So I think that
Yeah. Mhm.
I think Hammer and Ruin both get 3 points, and Zaz gets 2,
Fuck you. Fuck you, Josh.
and that's how that works.
Fuck you. Fuck you.
That's it.
I quit.
All right.
All
Good job, everybody.
right. Listen, that's inappropriate. If you do it one more time, you're fired.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, we
You're
gotta
not
close
going
it
to get a
down.
paycheck.
We gotta shut it down. Hold on.
There we
All
go.
right,
feel good.
There we go.
That feel good, Josh?
It does every time.
More for the tiebreaker, or
We could. I do have another one lined up here if you'd like.
I hope
we
it's
have to
long
do the
and-
tiebreaker.
All right.
All right, let me get this cropped right because it's a short one.
Okay, great.
You know what? I
The
don't have to- I
lightning
don't have to
round.
pull it up. It's okay. I'm just going to read it.
Okay.
Dear Abby, could you please clarify something for my husband and me? My brother and his wife have been divorced for several years and have 2 children together. His ex-wife has nothing to do with my children. Should they still refer to her as Aunt Julie? I say no. After all, my brother is divorced, and this would be very uncomfortable for his new wife should the day come that he ever remarries. My husband says that Julie is still their aunt because she is the mother of their cousins. Who is right?
Ruin, take this or pass.
Well, I think I'll take it. I mean, she's still their aunt. It's just whether you want to engage with that person, but I don't think you can take away that entire past.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like you have to interact with that person or go up to, you may not even see that person. So it may be irrelevant, but
Yeah.
Maybe they do see her. I don't know. But
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I still think it'd be kind of weird, I think, for children to be like, hey, Aunt Julie, and then be like, hey, Julie. Like that might be kind of confusing to them, depending on what age they are.
Zaz, you want to go or you want me to go?
I mean, it's a tiebreaker between you two all-stars. So
You might be able to pull this out. If you get 3 points, we're going to.
I'm sorry that her sensibilities are hurt. You know, they have this, you know, this history together, and these are kids, and they know him as Aunt Julie. How about not destroying their innocence with, you know, your. Have we asked about, you know, how he feels? Maybe he wants that to, you know, continue. Be like, hey, call Aunt Julie. I don't care. I'm sorry. You know, it's at the end of the day, it's that's history to kids, and kids are going to maintain those core memories that you're trying to destroy by pushing yourself onto that.
Yeah, exactly.
Where did the bitterness come from, Zaz, today? Wow, sorry.
My thought is, I don't think the kids are going to stop calling her aunt, no matter what you tell them. That's
There
what
you
they
go.
call her. That's what she is.
Yeah, true.
The other thing is that she made a point like it might be awkward for his new wife. No, it won't. Lots of people are called aunt. It doesn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't
Mhm.
matter. It doesn't matter. It's just a meaningless title. A lot of people are aunt something or uncle something that aren't even related to the kid.
It's a
It's
very
just a
valid
way-
point.
It's just a way to let the kids know that this is someone that they can trust and they are considered family without telling kids, well, you see, he's your first, second cousin's third ex-wife who, like, it's just aunt. I have nephews that are
Right.
actually two nephews who are my niece's kids. It's just easier to call them my nephews.
Yeah. And the
Mhm.
aunt might
Yeah.
be awesome too. The divorce might have happened for some reason that's not like, you know, terrible. I mean,
Yeah.
sorry, I'm stepping on Ruin. My apologies.
Yeah, the good divorce.
I mean, you know, sometimes
The
people
fun
just
divorce.
the fun. Was it
Super
Louis
happy
C.K.?
Fun divorce.
Yeah.
All
All
right,
right,
let's see who wins here. What's the answer?
Dear
Oh.
Carol, the reality today is that many marriages do not make it to the finish line. That, however, does not erase the fact that an ex-spouse existed for the role he or she played. Your brother's new wife will understand that he was previously married and should not feel in any way threatened that Aunt Julie is mentioned once in a while, if ever. I agree with your husband. Which means I think that Ruin gets another 3, Hammer gets 2, and I'm taking away the first 2 points I gave to Zaz.
You know,
So,
why
congratulations
does
to our
the
winner.
guest always win? It seems to be a thing. I don't know what it
Crazy.
So here's your prize, Ruin. We're going to put your book cover up on the screen one more time and let everybody know that Neighborhood Sex Secrets by Ruan Willow is available for pre-sale on Amazon.
Yeah, it's on Amazon. It'll be other places later on,
Yeah.
but right now it's just going to be available on Amazon. And it's a pre-sale. It's not actually going to go live until I think August 20th is when it will be released.
That's
wait,
awesome.
Now it's in pre-sale.
Most excellent. Did we cover what the basics of this
No, we
story are?
we went somewhere else. No, so this
That's
is
your bonus prize. You get to tell us why people should buy this.
awesome. Well, it was a really fun story to write. And the baseline of the story is the main storyline is that this is a woman who was in an abusive relationship. He was a narcissistic, abusive dude, and she gets a divorce. And so she's living in the house in the neighborhood, and she has 2 sons, and she's kind of looked down met by people. And one of these days she goes to a neighborhood party, and she starts to realize there are a lot of neighborhood sex secrets that she has no idea about. She thought she lived in this vanilla, boring neighborhood. No, she does not. And now that she's single, she gets to do this. And so the 2 men she hooks up with, they evolve into this dom sub relationship where it's daddy and good girl. And so it's a triad. It's 2 men and a woman, and they decide they're going to help her check off everything on her sexual bucket list.
Nice.
She does some really, really crazy things, and it was so much fun to write this story. I just had a blast. I went taboo all over the like, I mean, it was really fun, like, yeah.
That sounds awesome. I actually think I'm looking forward to it. It said I'm buying it. I'm buying it. That sold me even more. That brings it. I have a question in mind, and I'm trying to figure
Can
out.
we, can we bring in a caller?
Yeah, if we have a call right
Yeah.
now,
Let's give that a
Ruan,
shot.
if you want to give it a try.
Yeah.
Hi,
Hey,
caller.
everybody, it's Alex Stein. How are you tonight?
Doing great. How are you doing tonight?
Pretty good. I was just calling in to ask you about relationship advice.
Okay, what question do you have?
Well, did you hear that Brittany Griner sucked Putin's dick?
And there it is.
There it is. There it is.
There it is.
See, I just hate when the setup is then it's like, I'm going to read headlines and I don't know. But hey, we tried. Ruan, do you have any comments for that one?
Not really.
Okay.
It sounds like somebody was trying to be silly, and yeah.
We can dig silly, but just the straight
that was-
into it. There's
Yeah.
no tact.
Right.
It's not
Yeah, like-
funny. Mm.
Just to start. You don't have to. I guess get
Naughty
your name out there
cat.
if you want to. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a naughty pussy.
Yeah, that's my new band name. The, here's my question, and you don't have to get into specifics.
Okay.
Have you ever written about some sex act or acts or something along those lines that has made you either want to try it for fun? It sounds like it's fun the way you wrote it, or that you wanted to research it before writing about it.
Oh, I always research it. If I haven't done it, I definitely always research it. And one particular one I can give an example of. I have never used a strap-on. This was my story for Magic and Her Kisses, and I am friends with Leilani Lay, she's a amateur porn star.
I know that name.
Mhm.
Oh, wow.
And so
wait, was she? Wait, I'm sorry. Was she on the Two Bears podcast?
I'm not sure, but her and I have narrated
okay.
2 books together. I'm not sure if she's been on that or not, but she's got her own business. It's her own amateur porn business. So she's a businesswoman. And so I asked her, we were friends, and we've done 2 books together. And I asked her because I've never done a strap-on woman on woman. And so I interviewed her for the book so I would know how to write the scenes. I had never
Okay.
done that. So, it was fun. I learned things that I didn't even know about. So, and we talked about glass dildos. That was fun too.
I have seen them. They looked a little terrifying at first, and then after you touch it, like this is a big, solid, tempered piece of glass. It is not going to break off.
No, they don't break. I don't have one, but I have a friend who she went and bought one, and she thought it was going to break. And the worker at the sex store picked it up and dropped it on the floor. It didn't break. So she said, this is not going to break. But you do have to be careful because there's no give. There's no flexibility at all.
And you
with that.
probably want to warm them first.
I know people, this is crazy. I know people who warm them and chill them and love it both ways.
Chilled.
Chilled. I know. I was really shocked
Wow.
by that.
I mean, I've done the ice cube thing, and that was okay, but only
Mhm.
because there was a little bit of ice.
2 of them swear by it. They just absolutely love it. 2 women in a group that I'm in, they love it. Chilled.
Hey, that is the great thing about sex and humans. There's so many ways to
Mhm.
do it, and so many
Yes.
different ways to enjoy it, and everybody has a different level. I love that. I can
absolutely.
literally talk to people all night about what they do, what they enjoy. I had a friend meet me for camping this weekend, and we just talked about like her first time, the way she first explored herself and others, and it was in no way. I don't want to make it sound like we were talking erotica. We were talking facts.
Right.
And almost. I was excited to hear the story, but not buy the story. And it's such a hard
Mhm.
line sometimes to make people realize, no, this was just a conversation. It wasn't dirty talk.
Right.
The other question I have for you is, while we have, I know you said you can give us about an hour. How many times have you found your work stolen by somebody else?
Oh, that's good.
I have not, but I've had my pictures stolen.
Oh,
Really?
come on, people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so now I try to put my @ on the pictures, and it's flattering that people would steal the pictures, but and for me, I'm headless in my pictures. Like, why steal my pictures? I do it to be personable with people. I like to portray
Yeah.
myself sexually to the world. I think it's fun to be sexually creative with my images, but why steal pictures of mine that don't even show my face. Like that's weird to me. Like why do that? You know, and but I got him caught and I got him kicked off Instagram.
Good. I those people, they need banned from everything. Instagram needs to just put out, and then everybody follows Twitter and like, hey, whoever has this email account, just don't trust them. Get rid of them.
Right. Yeah.
I never understood that, and I just assumed that people would copy and paste whatever they could of yours and throw it on Erotica under their name, maybe change the first name of.
There is one other time it happened. I also write for Frolic Me, which is an ethical porn site. So like they have these beautiful sensual videos and I write stories that go along with them. And someone did steal one of those, but it was nice because they're a big company. So they just went right after him and been like, you can't just steal this story. Yeah. And so they got it taken down immediately. But other than that, I don't know of any that have, but it possibly could have happened. Yeah.
Hey, Ruan. Can I ask you a question?
Absolutely.
Course, yeah.
She's on a talk show.
I'm like literally like, like I'm just like this the entire choose your own adventure. Is that ever possible? That would be.
Oh, yes.
For some reason, it just clicked and I'm like, oh my God, wait, that would be. Sorry.
Choose your own kink venture.
Yeah.
Yes,
I
know a woman who created erotic game that is that.
Yeah. Like an art. Wow. What's that?
It's called like In Her Hands. Yeah. It's like, I think it's called In Her Hands, I think is what it's called. But yeah, that's exactly what it is. I interviewed her on my show and it's exactly that. You get to pick your own erotic adventure. You're the character and you get to pick what you want to do. It's amazing.
Is it more of like a Dungeons and Dragons or is it like a card playing game or?
I'm not really sure because I never played it. I did see all the images and look at it, and she took some of my books and put it in the bookstore, which was kind of fun. So people could like actually click on the books.
Super awesome.
Dude,
I know.
Send me a link to that.
Yeah.
Send me a link to that.
Okay,
because
sure.
I wonder if we can maybe play it on a upcoming show.
Yeah. And they have I think it's actually free. At least the time when I interviewed her, it was actually free.
That's super. That's awesome.
Oh.
I like that.
Mm-hmm. I think they were creating paid levels too, but they did have a free level, which was really
like
cool.
DLC. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, and it's cool because she was an erotic author to begin with, and she started to write, and she was working with this man who knew how to make video games. So they collaborated to create this amazing video game. It's amazing.
Wow.
I want that information. I might even want them on the show as well.
Yeah. Oh, and she probably still wants to advertise it, I'm sure.
Heck yeah! Like I love the idea.
Yeah. Oh, for
good
sure.
questions, Az. Give us another question.
How are you?
How am
Frozen.
I?
No. This is the quietest I've ever been on our shows, and I'm just like I'm totally okay with it. Usually, you can't shut me up, and I'm just soaking all this in. This is fantastic. It's you mentioned earlier like you do research. I mean, you read like a lot of these, a lot of books that we go through and they say they spend their time doing research on this, that, and the other thing. I was going to ask that question earlier, but you mentioned, obviously you have a friend in the industry you worked on for some of these pieces. Is there something you ever did that you did the research on and you don't seem like someone who would turn like a blind eye and be like, no, that's okay. But has there been something you're like, this is too much? Like maybe this was a little something I didn't want to go down.
I generally don't go into really hardcore BDSM. However, when I interviewed the two guys who narrated Ruan's Beach Getaway with me, and both of them, I was talking about, hey, what do you think I should include in the third book for their kinks? Because they do different kinks. And this was interesting. And I actually probably would investigate this one, but one of the men brought up the fact that there are sex toy wooden knives out there that people use as a sensual hot wax play. So like you take the hot wax candles that are low heat. And so what they do is they take these wooden knives, which are a little safer than, sharp metal knives. And then they would pour the wax on and then scrape it off with these wooden knives. So it's kind of like a little bit dangerous, but not sharp.
Yeah.
And he does really, I mean, he goes really hardcore into BDSM. Like he's a dom and he does like just about everything and even really nasty stuff that I would never do. I would never go and describe something in a story like any kind of blood play or, waste or anything like that. Those things are like way off my desire to write about. So those are things I would be turned off by writing about. And I will, the funny thing is some people think for some reason, maybe because it's about sex and sex is personal, a lot of people assume that I've done everything I've written about or that I want to do everything I've written about. I'm like, no, I'm creating stories.
Yeah.
The character is doing that. That doesn't mean I want to do that. That doesn't mean that's my obsession. And people get it crossed. And it's interesting because people don't seem to do it in other genres, but they do in erotica.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, they're not asking Dan Brown if he knows how to solve puzzles at the Vatican,
right.
you know?
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, Dean Koontz isn't fighting like, you know, dog monsters.
Exactly.
Like, yeah, you're like, why would you?
Maybe.
But then again, you know, people get mad at like that kid from Game of Thrones. They think he's really that dirtbag, but you know,
Right. It's so
Yeah.
weird. It's so weird. I'm like, do you think Stephen King goes around as a monster murdering people?
Well,
Yes.
actually, guys, spoiler, he just got
That's why he had to move
arrested.
to Florida, down to Sanibel Island. And,
Yeah.
I do get it because you're writing about things that you understand why others find erotic or that you think are digestible by the average person as well. It's not that you're into half the things that go on this lady's checklist. It is that you understand that she would be into them, that she,
Right.
as a normal person walking through the world, might want to try this in a safe and explored manner instead of
Right.
let's just go crazy nuts with it. And so this is a question I've had, and I obviously I don't know all of your work. The incest thing is really huge now, and I'm sure you've been approached by at least somebody to write a story. Have you seen it really growing? I'm not asking, your thoughts on the act, but on it appearing in so much modern porn.
Well, it's definitely more prevalent in porn. I will say most of the publishing sites will nix it. They will not publish it. The one that does is Smashwords, and they are pretty lenient with everything. But most,
Really?
a lot of the sellers will not go there. And you can make it like seem like a role play, but if it seems real in any way, that they won't publish it.
Yeah, I get that.
But it is in porn, and the whole step parent thing, people, that's that's something at a different level than the actual incest. But yeah,
I'm still trying to figure out where it all came from, but my thought is it's just so many blended families, and yeah, your stepfather's daughter might be hot in your age, and you had a thought, but I didn't. When it started to really explode, I was taken aback by it. Just first off, I thought like nobody would ever publish this stuff, and so I'm glad it's not in the erotic areas as much as it's just solid porn.
Yeah, except for Smashwords, I'm pretty sure. And there are some they will do, but they have a line where it can't go.
Right. Well, good. It hasn't invaded everything.
No.
It's. Yeah, I'm not a fan, as you could tell. In fact,
Yeah.
You don't like it when it pops up on your screen, everything, and you click on one accidentally, and it's like, "Hey, brother, how's it going? Mom, how you doing?" And you're like, "I didn't mean to click on this."
I
the
know,
worst
like,
is
dang
when you're. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
I'll say the worst is when you're like into a video 5 minutes in, and you're like, that actor's attractive, that actor's attractive, and you're like, okay, this is good. And I was like, oh, I can't believe you're my brother. Like, just
I
stop.
know, right?
Like, I gotta click out of this now.
And now it's in your
already out.
recommended.
Yes,
forever.
yes.
I know. Don't you hate that? Like, I need to I wish there was a way to like clear it, but you can't.
Now
Except cookies.
Now I'm only getting
Yeah.
icky returns. So, oh gosh. Yeah. So if you're a porn producer out there and you're watching the show, just please quit it. Just,
Knock it off.
Right,
You're
just
making it
quit.
awkward. Thanksgiving dinner's weird now. I appreciate
I know,
it.
right?
your mom doesn't want to sleep with you, dude. I don't care
Yeah,
how big your
exactly.
website is.
Do you mind if I just shoot a random, just a quick question out there? Like one of our advice. I mean, I don't know where we're at in the conversation, but I know she has like an hour, and we're creeping up on it. So I just want to throw at least one question out there before we end.
Ruan, would you like to go over one Reddit question from the other side with us reading it to you? And we'll all
Sure.
answer if you like. Sure.
Sure.
Okay. Sorry, you can tell I haven't talked in a while, so I'm like, can I please?
I'm part of this show, right?
Yeah, right. Look at me. I'm a narcissist. Anyway,
Aren't we all?
am I not showing screen? I guess we have too many windows, so I'll just read it. Let me stop screen share. Okay. Posting here. Okay, blah,
You're
blah, blah.
good. You just gotta add it.
Oh, do I? It's
Yeah.
fine now. It's I'm in a loving relationship with my boyfriend for a few months now and would never cheat. However, I've always thought about having a sexual experience with another girl even prior to my current relationship, but I've never slept with a girl. I'm not bisexual, as I'm not attracted to them in a romantic sense and wouldn't have an emotional relationship with them. However, I have always had the curiosity of what it's like to sleep with one. I'm not sure what the label for sexuality is. Recently, I've been having
Sorry.
some sexual. Sorry, should I?
Like sexual is in the word bisexual. Just sorry, go ahead.
Recently, I've been having some sexual dreams of me and another girl getting our freak on. These have been reoccurring over the last few months, and it's been driving me crazy. Is this normal? I don't ever want to break up with my boyfriend. I'm in love with him and would never touch another person, male or female. I haven't spoken with my partner about it and never told him that I would sleep with a girl. I feel so guilty about this fantasy. Keeps coming back to me, and even in my dreams, as my boyfriend and I have sex quite often as well. So it's not a case of lack of intimacy within our relationship, and plus, he's great in bed. These thoughts
I'm
are
so straight. I'm so straight. Sorry.
These thoughts are starting to really irritate me, and I don't know how to go about it, whether I try to push it down and not think about it. Any advice on my current dilemma?
Ruan, what do you think? And again, I'll go first if you want.
Well, I'm a little confused. Is she saying she's not attracted yet she wants to do it? That's contradictory to me, and that doesn't make any sense.
Not emotionally attractive. She, I think, wants to experience the act, but she knows that she would never be able to fall in love with or develop a romantic relationship with a woman.
I
That
thought
she
she
knows
said
of.
she wasn't attracted. It's like, oh, how is that interaction even going to go then? If you're not
You're right.
attracted, you know,
Did
like
she-
that's
Yeah, she said that. Yeah.
Oh,
She's having these
yeah.
dreams, but she said she's not attracted, which is, again, it's a conflict, right?
It's
Doesn't
hard.
make
It's hard
any-
to eat
yeah.
a bowl of spaghetti if you hate
Nope,
spaghetti.
you did not just compare this to spaghetti. Jeez.
I mean, that'd be so forced and like awkward and weird. And how would the other person feel? Like, you know, like you're not even attracted to me, but you're doing these things to me. You know, like
Hold on. I almost vomited. Hold on. I'm gonna do this. 1, 2. Like it's not really erotic. No, maybe
turn
it
off.
is.
That's a turn off, man. That,
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
How about I just shut my legs and go home?
I mean, so yeah, it's go on, Hammer. Sorry.
No, Rowan. If you want to, I love your thought on that. Actually, I didn't catch the I'm not attracted physically. But I think her dreams are telling her something else, maybe a little bit.
maybe she's denying. I don't know, but she should definitely not have shame about it. But
Yeah.
There you go.
you know,
And
no, go ahead.
yeah, I was gonna say my other thought here is this is your boyfriend who you have a fabulous relationship, and you should be able to talk about what your fantasies are and talk about your dreams and explore this idea. Even if you never act on it, you don't open a relationship up to another woman one night. If none of that happens, that's fine. But you should be able to talk about these things going on in your head if they're affecting you to the point where you're on Reddit telling strangers about them. He should have been the first person you were comfortable talking to. And I think that something in the relationship needs some work on that level. And then just talk with him through it and say, hey, I had another dream. It was weird. This time I did this. And it doesn't mean you have to act on any of it. Maybe just the thought of it is enough. Maybe just watching some threesome porn or girl on girl porn or even reading some Ruan Willow stories will be enough to tide you through.
Nice
Right.
loop, Hammer.
I know. I'm really good at that. Looking. There it is.
Josh,
one-
nice.
There's one girl on girl scene in the book. The rest is all male and female. Yeah.
Yeah. Someone said, if you want to have sex with a woman, you're bisexual. You are just
No.
not biromantic. So
You
By
can
curious.
be curious. You can be curious. Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. It's I mean, yeah, I wouldn't just to kind of because of Ruin real quick, Hammer and I we always, have a banter back and forth. And it's like my thing is with this is the strangers talking to strangers on Reddit, it's a throwaway account. She's allowed to reach out to people she's not comfortable
No,
with.
she
might-
absolutely
we don't-
is.
Yeah, it's
But when you put that out to the world, you
Right.
had to type it, think it, phrase it, and get it out there versus just talking to the guy who's right there.
right. She could
Yeah.
possibly want confirmation. She could be confused.
guess.
We don't know. He might be in we'll say a religion that might frown upon
Yeah.
that. So she's looking into we don't know that background, the context piece. So that little, and again, I'm just saying for for
I don't
safety.
care what his religion is. You should always feel comfortable talking.
I didn't
to
just mean religion. I mean, yeah, exactly.
No, I mean, doesn't matter who he is. You should always feel comfortable talking about what's in your head.
it's
to
true.
your
It's true.
significant
It's
other.
true.
There's
you're
something
right.
wrong with their relationship if she can't come to him and say that.
Yeah.
There's something else going on negative there. If she
All right.
can't say that to him, that's just.
But I do take your point, Zaz, in that it is just a throwaway account on Reddit, and maybe that is easier to start with to get the validation. So
Mhm.
yes,
He lays the pipe well, apparently. So heck
yes,
yeah.
he's very good at. She's so straight,
Yeah.
so straight. You don't have any idea how straight she is. And my
You know that's going to go
correction-
over to like half the people listening's head, like that joke. It's just so good.
so straight.
So straight.
The one thing I did want to point out, my earlier correction was that she somehow thought because she can never be romantically involved or attracted or have that type of relationship with a woman that she can't be bisexual. You can be bisexual and not emotionally involved or attracted to the same sex. You're just into the bisexual part of it. If you're curious about exploring it, you're bi-curious, but yeah, you don't have to necessarily be able to fall in love with the same sex. That's a different thing than bisexual sometimes.
Yeah, we're not defined by our sexual acts.
Yeah,
We're defined by what our orientation is, not by our sexual acts.
And also, you're defined by yourself. If she doesn't want to say she's bisexual, she doesn't have to. If she wants to, that's
Right.
fine.
Yep.
Yeah, like so there's such a middle ground here. I just wanted to take a little exception to the fact that I'm not attracted to women, so I can't be bisexual. Like, you can't.
Right.
Well, as
So-
an extension of that, you don't have to find a label that fits either. You
Sure.
just
Right.
roll with it
Right.
and do your thing. And
It can be
I do
fluid.
things. Yeah, I do things. Sometimes I'm
Each
not.
one
Dumb,
do.
sometimes I'm not. Yeah.
Josh, look at nice.
With the astute observation from back there in the cave. I just like his set piece back there. It's the best.
I know it's like a command central.
That's exactly what he was going for.
One thing I noticed is eye contact is always up. So he's got like monitors above his head. He's watching at all
He's-
times too. Like he's just
Maybe
back
he's
and forth.
watching porn. He might be watching porn.
Yeah.
be a lot more entertaining than Zaz.
Oh.
I'm putting my 2 weeks in.
Yeah.
Yep.
I should point out to Ruan that these guys have been friends for way longer than they should have been.
Mm.
No, we've never been friends.
Constant. So, Ruan, I want to thank you for your over an hour that you've given us. It has been better than I could have imagined. I love talking to you, and I probably have a million more questions. And I wanted to thank you so much for joining us and giving us your time, and give you one more plug on your wonderful book. And I'm sure Josh's finger was written. No, it wasn't. There it is.
Oh, there it is. Wow.
Neighborhood Sex Secrets by Ruan Willow. It'll be out everywhere. It's on pre-sale now, Amazon.com and other places. And anything else you want to say or get people on your podcast or about just your
absolutely.
website?
Yeah, come check out my podcast. It's everywhere. Oh, fuck yeah, with Ruan Willow. And I'm all over the place. Search for my books. I'm on multiple sellers all over the place. And
Greatest
my
name
website
for a
is-
podcast.
Yeah.
I know, right?
You-
They wouldn't let me use the U, so I had to put a star. So fuck is F***.
And now nobody knows what that word is because it was so well hidden.
I know, right? Oh, that's
like-
that. Yeah,
Well, my parents would say the F word. I'm like, I know it's fuck, Mom. Like, it's fine.
right.
You made me. It's like the Louis C.K. skit. You made me think the word in my head because you didn't want to say it.
Yeah,
To
it's a good word.
paraphrase. Yeah, it's a great word. It's so functional. It is.
It is. See how many
Delivers
meanings it has.
emotion. Yeah.
It's one of my favorite words.
There is a comedian, an Irish comedian. I can't remember his name right now. His special is something mental, and he starts off the special saying, I don't speak the Irish language. It's the language I should speak. I'm from Ireland. Instead, I'm forced to speak English, which has all these rules and grammar and things you can and can't do. And it's a wall between you and I trying to share an experience. And there's this big wall here, and fuck is my chisel. And I just love that
Yeah.
thought that like there's so many rules and fuck just breaks them all. You can throw fuck in
Uh-huh.
anywhere. You
Yes.
could make it mean anything, and it works because most English speakers know exactly what you're saying. If you fucking say it anywhere you fucking want, it just
Tommy
works.
Tiernan. Yeah.
Tommy Tiernan, thank you.
Yep.
He's amazing. At least that special is geared for American audiences, so anybody in the on this side of the ocean who wants to see some really great comedy and storytelling, watch Something Mental by Tommy Tiernan, who is in no way paid me to say that.
That started with thanking Ruan for her time and
Yeah.
being around. So
Yeah.
thank you
Oh
very
yeah.
much.
Sorry, Ruin.
Oh, it's all good.
I'm easy to sidetrack.
That's the
That's
best
fine.
word. Like you said, it has so many uses in so many different ways.
Yeah, and yeah, it just breaks down barrier. I think most CEOs are taught to say it within the first 2 minutes of any company-wide speech, because then you get down to their level and they're one of you because they said an
Yeah.
F word.
Yeah. Until
it's
they own
just-
a pizza company and then they say the wrong word, and next thing you know, they don't have a job anymore.
Yeah, well,
Uh-oh.
John Shatter.
F word wasn't the problem there.
Yeah, it wasn't the F
I
word.
know.
Hey, before we get off topic, let's let Ruin get out of here with a graceful exit instead of "I'm tired of hearing your voices, guys." Click.
This was awesome. Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
no, you're
So much.
fantastic. Yeah,
Well, thank you so much for having me. It's been really fun.
Thank you
I
for
hope to
coming
have
on,
you
Ruin.
back, and I know you probably didn't know this. We have a really cheap website up. It took me all of 5 minutes on Wink or whatever to just put it up. But I do have friends of the show, and you've been on there since we threw it up on the
Awesome.
relationshipsmith.com, because you are a friend of a show, and I hope you always are, and I hope to have you back sometime and soon.
Oh, absolutely. I'd love to come back for sure.
Thank you so much. Have
Thank
a
you for
wonderful
having
night.
me.
Yep. I'm gonna let you hang up so it doesn't seem like we're just clicking you out. It
Okay,
seems
except
rude.
I'm a little stupid. I don't know how to hang up.
Oh,
Josh, kick her out of here.
oh no! Please
Just
don't
kick
do
me
that,
out.
to Ruin.
Bye, Ruin. She's watching. We could say goodbye without the awkward goodbyes.
I know, but she's so nice.
Yeah, gentlemen, that was amazing.
Yeah.
Every week we
She
get
was a lot of
fantastic
fun. That was
people
great.
on very different levels, and
Seriously, that conversation could go on for like another 2.5 hours. I want to hear more
Sure.
stories. It's always like just defining like what she's comfortable to tell, what she can talk about, and it's like, and I just sat there quietly in the background like a statue. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, no, she's a blast.
I removed her from the studio in case she had trouble shutting it down. I didn't want it running and
Yeah,
sitting
yeah, yeah.
there. Yeah, that was wow. Thank you guys for doing this show with me so we could have these types of conversations with these wonderful people. Like, this is doing some amazing things here. So
You're beautiful boys, and I like hanging out with you guys.
Yeah,
Fun.
a lot of fun all the way
Except for
around.
Josh. Josh can get fucked. Get fucked, Josh.
I hope she writes a story
I was-
about us.
I was being really
Um,
serious. I really like doing this with these guys. I'm sorry that you're so confrontational right now. That's
I
too
hate that
bad.
you're trying to take the high road right now. I think that really personally
I'm
offends
just
me.
no. We were having a real moment. I was
And
trying
it
to
Yeah,
live-
offends the audience, their intelligence. Like you're
You
really just
wanna-
going.
You want to ruin that? That's up to you.
Zaz, if you
really.
need to talk about this relationship issue that you're having right now, I'd be glad to take your question. Just you're right there. And the snort. And the snort.
That fucking prick. God damn it. See, what you do is you go a level, and then Josh just sits there and you could just see the wheels turn, and he goes, how can I go a little bit higher? And then he just goes, now let's go the next mile, and then he just drives the dagger into your skull.
Let's break this bastard.
Oh God, that one hurt. That hurt my soul. Well done, sir.
All right, everybody out there who's watching the show on any of our multiple streams across Twitter, Discord, DLive, Vimeo, I don't know, Kick. I think we're on Kick. Anybody who's watching us from anywhere, we may or may not see your chats. I'm not sure if this chat system brings in all the chats. In fact, I'm pretty sure it doesn't. If you want to talk with us in chat, DLive, or not DLive, Discord is probably the best place to reach us. Or call in right now, the number below, 412-254-4829. We will take your call. And if you haven't, like last week, we I hope, geez, what was the gentleman's name?
Ooh.
Gilbert Gottfried?
Yeah, Gilbert
Oh.
Gottfried. That's who it was. No. Shoot.
While you're thinking of it, let's just make sure we don't discount the DLive thing you said completely. We will take all the lemons that you'd like to donate.
Yeah,
Please
D-Live,
send those over.
lemon us up.
Lemon us up is a phrase I don't want to ever hear again coming from anybody on the show's mouth. I'm just going to say that right now.
Are you sure?
Okay, so in an attempt to keep this relatively short, I'm so tired of my mind going back and forth all the time about being happy versus not wanting to stay versus wanting to go in my relationship. My partner is an absolute angel. She's so incredibly sweet and loving and supporting. She has done so much for me, way more than I feel that like I've done for her mentally and physically. I absolutely love her to the ends of this world. This is my fourth serious relationship, 1 year plus. I've dated others and lasted shorter times in college and high school, so I'm not completely ill-experienced, but my mind sometimes convinces me that I'm better off alone with a cat or two. I love that. I don't have much of a family, but her family loves me and tells me how proud they are of me, and it seems so surreal sometimes. I almost feel like I push it away because I feel like I don't deserve it. I definitely had problems with self-sabotage in the past. Oh, man. Anyways, I feel like some days I wake up and I'm head over heels, just madly in love with my partner. And other days I wake up and I feel like I want to drop off and travel the world with not a cent in my name. I feel so incredibly guilty because I don't tell her these feelings because they typically arise and then go away. It's just so strange because on one hand, she's the only partner I've seriously considered a life with. And on the other hand, I feel like I don't want to have anything to do with the life I've created myself. It's really confusing. She's absolutely gorgeous and has the most amazing personality I've ever met. And I feel like my irrational thoughts create this, albeit transient, feeling of rejection towards her and everything else. I had a very abusive, mentally, physically, emotionally childhood and sometimes wonder if it's just trauma resurfacing. But again, I don't want to project any of that onto her and make it something she has to deal with. I've never been diagnosed with any psychiatric disorder. I've gone to bi-weekly therapy since I was 21, so I'm not terribly worried about anything bipolar or borderline personality disorders. I just don't understand why I feel like I'm constantly fighting my mind to stay where I am and stay sane.
So that's less of a relationship question to me than it is a help question. In that I think that I worry that this person hasn't talked to their therapist about this particular issue that's disturbing them. I don't think it's an issue, honestly. But I'm not a therapist. I'm not their therapist, so I hate going too deep into this. But I believe everybody has that fantasy, or a lot of people have that fantasy of, man, wouldn't it be great just to chuck it and end up on an island somewhere helping people load up snorkel boats. No bills, no child, no wife, no friends, just starting over. I think a lot of people have the start over fantasy, and that's okay. It's just something you explore in your head, and you don't need to feel guilty about it. If you start planning to do this, then you should feel guilty. Fantasies aren't a bad thing. They're how your brain copes with stress sometimes. It's how your brain invents things that explores, like, how would you feel if you didn't have her around? How
Right.
would you feel if you didn't have money? Your brain is testing you not to see if you love her, just to test you and give you ideas and scenarios of what life could be like if X, Y, and Z happen. That's my opinion as a non-therapist. I would absolutely bring this up to your therapist. I'm pretty sure you're going to hear very similar that it's okay, and a lot of people do this. I don't think it brings into question your love for your girlfriend in any way, and I think you can talk to her about it as long as you phrase it in the, every once in a while I just think about running away, and it's nothing I'll do, but like, do you ever think that? Do you ever think like, hey, if I just chuck this and disappeared? I'm pretty sure you're going to find out that she has some of these thoughts occasionally too.
Right.
As long as they're not so intrusive that they're interrupting your daily life, your relationship, they're probably going to be okay. But again, I go back to talk to your therapist. Make sure, because you have the PTSD, you have a history with a therapist, you have a background, and that's where this question probably would best be answered.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, that's absolutely correct. I mean, they've been talking to their therapist they said, since they were 21. I didn't catch the age that time, unfortunately. But yeah, it seems like that's something first and foremost you want to bring up to them. I'm leaning from the microphone. My apologies. But yeah, that just seems we all have intrusive thoughts, and it didn't seem like there was anything like he was acting on any of them. Like, I treat her badly, I lash out on her. It's just strictly, hey, this thought keeps popping into my head once in a blue moon. What should I do? And he clearly recognizes it's not a good thing. Obviously, right now, relationship with this perfect person is winning the battle. So address it, I would assume, with your therapist first. And then if it's really a thing, then obviously talk to the significant other.
Yeah, I mean, I've had those thoughts of you guys. Like, just like, what would it be like to just chuck it?
Yeah. I mean, take relationship out of it. Like, I mean, there's times like you're in a store and somebody does something weird and you're like, I want to scream this at him. But you don't do that. You just,
Sure.
Put that in the backseat of your crazy brain and you just go, okay, next thing. So.
Cool. No, that was a great question. I mean, maybe I'll send them a link to this recording. Then, what kind of, do you still have that up? Are they getting good advice? Or they?
No, they literally only had like one bit of advice. Let me go back to it really quick. But yeah, there was only one person that responded. That's why I sent you the link, because
cool.
they did respond back. So they are reaching out. The one comment said, is there a path forward from here? That was one of the questions that person had asked. Said, yeah, clearly there's a gap to bridge. This starts with some crucially important communication, perhaps some couples therapy. This is not couples therapy. This is not couples therapy. This is not a couple issue. Like, first and foremost, my opinion is that sex, like any part of a relationship, is not something. Am I reading the same? I feel like I'm not reading the same thing. That's on me. Okay. I was like, hold on a second. This is not.
He didn't even mention sex.
I was like, wait a minute. Hold on. That's on me. Yeah. I'll get that back and I'll send it to you.
That's fine. It's fine.
There was only one. Yeah, there was only one response. But yeah, unfortunately, I lost that. So
it's okay.
Okay. All right. Did you want to move on to another one, or?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay. This was my husband humiliated me.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see what he did.
Okay. Long story short, we live with my in-laws, and my husband and I got into an argument about finances, and it spiraled. He decides to sleep on the couch, even though he knows that if my in-laws witness our struggles, that it will embarrass me, as I really care about our privacy. I grew up in a culture that's very image-oriented, and I find it horrifying. Anyways, my brother-in-law saw my husband on the couch and covered him with a sheet, obviously feeling sorry for him. The next day, apparently the TV volume and light were too loud for my husband, so he decides he's going to sleep on the floor by our door. My brother-in-law opens the door and lets in our cat and sees a husband on the floor. I don't think our conflict was that bad, but it always escalates. I'm so humiliated. My brother-in-law must think that I'm this villain Amber Heard of a wife or something, and we're in a loveless marriage. How would you handle this? I have no idea what to do. We don't know what the fights are about, by the way. That was kind of...
Yeah. She's embarrassed that he slept on the floor and her brother saw it.
Financial argument, but like outside of that, it wasn't like... Yeah.
Let's go with the standard. Hey, you just be honest with people. Be honest with your husband about how that made you feel. Be honest with your brother about what your relationship's like.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to like deliver any kind of like advice if there's not so much detail behind that. And unfortunately, that's where we're at. It's I mean, how bad did the fight get? Where were we at with that fight? And fortunately, maybe he felt the need that maybe she was too aggressive during that financial fight. She has to sleep out there, kind of cornering him to go like, listen, it's getting a little too escalated. I have to sleep on the couch. I mean, because it's also the fact too, that he might be trying to cause a scene, he might be trying to get away. So. We okay?
Yeah. Sorry, I was doing a thing. I was letting you speak. Sometimes I got to look away from the camera. It's okay.
Wait. No, you can't do that. You can't. Sorry. No, but yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, we don't know a lot of information about that outside of the fact that they got into a fight. He slept on the couch. That's harmless. You're worried about the image. That's more of a you thing, not a he thing. Like you said, discussion being have that conversation and dialogue.
Yeah, and I think there is something to be said about when you're around other people, relatives, you table that fight, like both
Yeah.
of you. Like wait till you can actually be in a place to have a larger discussion. If it's going to get to the point where one of you doesn't want to sleep in the same bed. But even then, I mean, I get the feeling, but just I say just again, lead with the honesty of, hey, this is how that made me feel, and then tell your brother, hey, we got into an argument about this, and that's not our normal thing, but want to apologize to you. But we're doing fine. It was just a thing.
Yeah.
And,
Sorry.
I was gonna say, and stop caring so much about what others think about the relationship. So
Yeah, that's a rough one. Yeah, that's real quick. I just brought up the last discussion we had talked about with the person overthinking the relationship with their partner, and the one bit of advice I got was take a deep breath. You're where you're supposed to be. Repeat that as often as you need. It was very sweet.
that's pretty nice. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
That's good advice.
Yeah. So I'll put that link in there and not screw that up.
Good for you. Proud
All
of you.
right.
Well, listen, do you want to go with one more and then we can get out of here for the evening?
I actually would really like to do that because I have not talked all day. So
I apologize. I was really into
do not apologize.
no, I just
Yeah.
I was zoning in and I just wanted to ask her a billion questions. So
First off, I'm a fan of Ruan. Like, I'm a huge fan. Awesome, great time. You had questions, and I would just sit back and watch like a fanboy. I mean, that whole conversation, that whole question that went down, that conversation went down was fantastic. So yeah, I love that I got to see with our new setup. I got to see what Josh was doing, and I saw that he was going to select that right when we started talking about it, and I was like, and 3, 2, 1, boom, there was the picture. I like our new tools.
yeah, this thing is awesome. If somebody gets called away on an emergency kid thing, the others can take over for a while and have a reasonable expectation of success. Yeah. So Josh has just left, and that's his stand-in.
Any advice on continuing?
Is that Josh or a drawing of Josh? It's weird.
There's a Josh, like blink if that's you. It's
One,
anatomically
two,
correct.
Link,
There you-
link.
There you go. I say it's Josh.
Flick.
I feel like I'm throwing you a softball with this one, but I'm going to go with this anyway. So I've been seeing this girl for 2 months. I've been coming off medication, so maybe we shouldn't do this one. I've been coming off medication, so I've been a bit unstable. But prior to this week, she was the only joy I was finding in life. I was a wrapped up mess, but when I saw her and talk to her, I'd have up to hours of pure happiness. Maybe I'm overthinking it, but the last 2 times we hung out, I didn't laugh as much. I'm getting a bit annoyed, and I'm in my head worried I've lost any connection feelings I've had. We shared a ton of the same values, goals in life, sense of humor, but now I'm worried what I thought was a long-term possibility may end shorter than expected. He's 25, she's 22. For context, we've been hanging out 2 to 3 times a week, and this was the 4th or 5th time we hung out this week. The only other thing that's changed is she started being more emotional and giving me a bunch of gifts. Am I pulling back because I'm scared? Is it just too much time together this week? Or should I start to look elsewhere? I really don't want to continue. I told you, softball. I really don't want to continue something where I would end up inevitably hurting the girl. Oh, a comment did pop up.
So don't read it yet.
Yet.
Did
Okay.
he say how long they've been together?
Yes. 2 months. 60 days.
So here's my thing. I don't believe this person has been in a relationship, a serious and good relationship, because relationships go from that fun, laugh a minute, do all the things, question each other, talk till 4 a.m. at the beginning. And then, maybe it takes 6 months, maybe it takes, at some point you just get comfortable with each other and you're not all about entertainment and laughing.
Yep.
It's normal. That's how good relationships go. It's not always on edge. It's not always, oh my God, I got to make sure that I get 18 laughs in per hour. Just have a good time. And she's signaling this maturity of the relationship by doing the romantic gifts things, by the loving things instead of just the, haha, I made you come. It is a real relationship that's happening. And I think he's scared. I don't know if he's scared of that or he just doesn't recognize what this is.
Right. Well, I mean, he's also going through some
Sure, medical
life
changes.
events as well. Yeah. So, I mean, and honestly, let's be fair, that might be part of it as well. But
Could be.
2 months. I mean, 2 months. I mean, I think that you need to test those waters out a little bit longer. If these are just like minor questions that he's having, then fine. I mean, figure it out. Give yourself some time to be you in this relationship. I don't think you need to find out immediately, but 2 months is a little short for me. When I hear this, I'm just kind of going, yeah. He doesn't know himself yet.
It is, but also Hammer's right that, there's a time where that, just happened stuff. Kramer, when he ran in the door, it wasn't as funny in season 4 as it was in season 2.
I'm so glad that's the Kramer story you told. My God, that could have went somewhere completely different.
Yeah, let's keep it on the show. But yeah, that's exactly it. It is. I don't know. It's that comfort. It's you exchange the wild excitement for comfort.
Yeah,
and it slowly happens over relationships. And I've seen multiple people on Reddit be freaked out by it. But it's usually younger people or people who've never had a relationship go for more than a couple weeks or a couple dates.
Yeah. So yeah, it's like I said, softball. I mean, it's going to be. He's going, like I said, a life-changing event. He's going off medication. He's worried about it's affecting him. But I mean, things taper, whether it be 2 months or 2 years or 2 decades. But it's going, to be different than it was when you first met.
Yeah, as long as you still really enjoy her and she enjoys you, and you could see a future and there's respect.
Yeah,
keep it going. If this was 2 months in and there was fights and cheating and problems, I would say you're only 2 months in, end it.
Yeah,
I'm going the opposite on this one. It's only 2 months and see where this goes. It's going to be a very warm and awesome place.
Yeah, fantastic.
So yeah, that's my advice to that. There, what was the advice they got?
Unfortunately, it says one comment, and when you click on the one comment, it's kind of like grayed out. So
no, it's relationship advice for them, and they block people who don't have an account over a certain age.
No, that's cold-hearted. Okay.
Yeah, they don't even tell you. It happened to me. I'm like, what did I do wrong? I didn't get a message, hey, you can't post because your account's too new. It was just everything good. It just sits there, and you won't get read or upvotes or anything. It's just
that's terrible.
It's a waste of your time. Occasionally, people would message me, hey, I saw you had a reply, but I can't read it. What did you say? And I would just cut and paste and to their chat. But yeah, it's a horrible system. I kind of understand why they have to do it, because that is a very popular sub on there. And again, there are people who just are literally looking to ruin people's days.
You got a alert, by the way, that you got like a high comment as well. I'm trying to get to it real quick. Your relationship advice to online boyfriend is always abusive towards me. I need help. What should I do? And you came back at them with, if you saw someone treat a total stranger. Should I read it? Do you want me to read it? It's a shorter one. Okay.
You like to talk.
Mother of pearl. I've been in a relationship with my boyfriend for just over a year now. Just for reference, it's online, and he's always been a bit of had a habit of snapping at me and saying terrible things to me, as he has anger issues. He says things like dumb bitch, calls me stupid, says I'm brainwashed, and all of that. A lot of the times this happens because he starts a political conversation.
As soon as she said brainwashed, I knew what the argument was, and I know.
Yeah. Exactly, I'm with you on that.
Yeah, he's using the word that everybody on his side uses whenever people don't agree with him, but he's saying they're brainwashed. But
if I get 2 sentences in, I see the word sheeple, I'm gonna stop.
No, I don't think it's in here. Yeah.
Okay, cool. He's right leaning and said I'm in the middle or not really political, but he says things like I'm a leftist. Regardless, I don't argue much with his points, and he takes it as I'm disagreeing with him, and he calls me horrible things and just bullies me. It has had a massive effect on my mental. Oh my God. Like, there is literally a subreddit for this stuff, man. Like, just these people who just dive into their political like echo chambers and just spew it on like these people who are just like, I'm just trying to have a life.
She's like, I love you, and I just want to, be with you. Oh, you're a leftist, and you're crazy. We brainwashed, stupid cow.
Good Lord, man.
You can skip because it kind of.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do I have to keep going? It's like it literally keiterally keeps going. Like she's.
And then she goes like, I hold doors for people. I'm nice to strangers. I'm
nice to strangers. I give up my seat on the bus. I mean, so for the life, it consists of being faced with abuse from a person that's meant to trust most is disheartening.
And she ends it with, You know, I have so much invested in this, and I'm committed to him so much, and I just, yeah.
All right, so, ugh, that's my response. You actually wrote, if you saw someone treat a total stranger like this in real life, I'm pretty sure you'd speak up and say something. So why are you allowing this person to do this to you? All you need to do is to disconnect from the conversation, block them on social media, and never respond to them again. It's literally that simple. But the next step takes work. You need therapy. You need people in your life that you trust to talk to. You need support in getting past this and going. It's going to be hard, but you can do it. You remember what you said about how you are a lovely, kind, good person? I believe it's true. I also believe you need to protect her. Do the right thing and get away from his abuse. You don't need to tell him why. You don't need to say goodbye. You don't need to have that literally is like a song from like Taylor Swift or something. You don't need to wait for the next time. When you are done reading this, do all the unfriending, blocking, and banning. End it and start your new life of seeking help and getting healthy so you can protect that awesome woman you just Jesus. Well done, sir.
Hey, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, through reading it, I believed that she was what she was saying. She was a pleasant, nice person who didn't want to have all these arguments, and I believe she's in an emotionally abusive relationship, 100%, and she needs to get away. The fact that he is an online boyfriend, she can end it just by closing. But I know there's more to it, and I know that abuse has a lot of hooks into it. And in the short time I have to respond to her, my thought here is to encourage her to end it as soon as possible, and hopefully she hears a couple more. And she at least takes that therapy suggestion where that therapist can say, this man is punching you in the brain every time he talks to you.
Some dick wrote, get offline. Like that's it.
I mean, maybe he meant what I meant, but he has no articulation. But yeah,
right,
jerks,
yeah. Does he know where you live? Yes. Okay. Jesus. Some of the responses from Reddit just baffle me. But anyway,
it baffles me why people bother to type some of that stuff up. Like, are they... I don't know. Like, why did you put any effort into what you just said? Because it was garbage.
Right.
So I did
Not only that, but they waited long enough to get past that grayed out time to post that.
Yeah, assuming that was relationship advice. Yeah. But you could also, they might have been on Reddit for 3 years in some, stonks group, and then they just moved over to it.
Nice.
So I did get 100 upvotes for, a question this week. If you don't mind, I can read you some of it.
Yeah, please. I have to step for 2 seconds. I'll be right back.
Get to stepping. Hello, fellow Redditors. I'm in desperate need of some relationship advice, or maybe just some reassurance that I'm not only the only one who's been through something like this. A couple of hours ago, I had a super embarrassing and awkward situation with my boyfriend, and I'm feeling mortified about it. So here's what happened. My boyfriend and I were drinking and getting intimate, and things were heating up. We were in the middle of a blowjob, and suddenly, out of nowhere, I started feeling nauseous. I tried to fight it, but before I knew it, I ended up throwing up on him. It was beyond embarrassing, and I feel absolutely terrible about it. My boyfriend was obviously taken aback and disgusted, which I completely understand. He tried to reassure me that it was okay and accidents happen, but I can't shake off this feeling of humiliation. I'm worried that this incident might have a lasting impact on our relationship and his perception of me. Has anyone else experienced something like this? How did you handle it? How did it affect your relationship in any way? I would appreciate any advice or words of wisdom to help me navigate this situation. I really care about my boyfriend, and I don't want this incident to define our relationship. Thank you in advance for your support and understanding. That's quality timing. Is Zaz back yet? I don't have that screen up. He's pooping.
Yeah, no, not yet.
So I got 100 on my it's one of my shorter responses actually. So just for posterity, I'll record it here. You're mature enough to give a blowjob and post it about it on the internet. You should be mature enough to sit down with your boyfriend and talk to him about what happened and come up with ideas on how to move past it and get on with your romantic and sexual lives. Yes, it happens to lots of people. No, it's not a relationship ender. You're human, and your body does human things that you can't always control. And then the response after by Crazocrates, which is kind of a neat name, Crazocrates. Plus, it's nowhere near as bad as what happened to a friend of mine. They were doing doggy, and he slipped and accidentally and quickly went into her area. She jumped away in pain, but as she did, she liquid shit all over him and like sprayed at his face and torso. Long story short, the cops are called, and it then goes into detail. They
in
were
the,
very
in the
they
business.
yeah, they were
We call that the Zaz.
pizzazz. I guess she freaked out saying he did it intentionally. This happened in her parents' house, who overheard the screaming and yelling. The cops showed up and had to separate them physically while they were both naked. Both were arrested and put in the drunk tank. The next response the person makes after a couple questions. Keep in mind that they were both right covered in shit. And I got more upvotes than that person.
That's that. First off, I hate to take away your thunder, but
Yeah.
no, wow, that is.
And you got to figure too that at least one of them only had a little bit of shit, so like they smelled it. The cops were like, "There's definitely some shit here. We just don't know where exactly."
You can't dust
And
for shit.
looking, yeah, that's a tough one.
Well done.
Whose
I'm-
cruiser are they getting in tonight? I don't know.
I'm
The
looking at
cops
it now.
actually fight about that. I found out. Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah. Like he's not getting in my car. You pick him up.
Yeah.
It happens all the time.
That's
Yeah, I'm
wonderful.
getting the lowest rank on site is the one who has to drive.
I like it. Yeah, this should be a movie. Yeah, I think that will be the next. What was that dude's name who wrote this book? Something this.
Next
Beer in
week.
Hell.
I hope they
serve
serve
beer in
beer in hell.
Yeah.
By
Tyler.
no,
It's
can't look it
douchey
up.
like
You can't
that,
Google it. You can't Google it. He had a movie.
No. Yeah.
Yeah.
I watched it. I didn't hate it.
I love the book. I laughed my ass off reading that book. Great stories. I even tried writing a couple like that, and I'm not that good. So I believe there's some talent there. The movie was god awful.
I liked it.
Really?
Yeah.
No.
All right, let's wrap.
Let's wrap it up.
Fun
What
show,
you-
guys. It was awesome having Ruan on.
It was, and next week we have the what do you call him? Author, the creator, the host of the podcast. People more interesting than me. He will be
Nice.
joining us to talk about how a medical incident has impacted his relationships, and also a little bit about his show and the interesting people he has talked to. I'm probably the least interesting person he has talked to, so I really loved being on the show. He will be giving out plugs, and we'll have graphics and all that stuff coming up. So that's next week at 9:30. So please join us then. Everybody, have a great evening. I need a new catchphrase. Goodbye.